What is up, YouTube? Beautiful Millsy, back with Hometown Commander, back for another episode of Millsy Brews here, my version 1.0 deck list of the Commander in front of us on my quest to brew the magic world. As always, the deck list is going to be down in the description for y'all. As well as I would greatly appreciate if you could interact with the video, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good YouTube stuff. Links are down in the description for you. Today we're continuing to run through Modern Horizons 3. Trying to cover all the fun commanders. I know that Assassin's Creed is pretty much full well spoiled. I've got 2 more weeks of Modern Horizons content, and then we'll rock with Assassin's Creed. I want to keep them separate. I want to try my best to enjoy the content as we can and get it out for you. But today, we're coming to a commander that I think is really fun, and that's Arna, Kennerud, Skycaptain, a Esper 4/4 human knight legendary with flying and lifelink, ward, discard a card, so it's kind of nice. It will at least deter some opponents from targeting it. And it says, whenever a modified creature you control attacks, we're going to double the number of each counter on it. Then for each non-token permanent attached to it, we're going to create a token that's copied that permanent attached to that creature. This is a really fun ability in a lot of ways because it targets 2 specific types of cards that are going to help make creature modified: auras and equipment. For the purposes of this deck, we're going to go towards equipment. I think you could make this Esper auras and it'd be a really fun commander in its own right. But we're going to go for equipment. We're going to show off some equipment that we can double up. And I think what can make this really fun is utilizing equipment that have either living weapon or for Mirrodin to kind of make our board state go wide as we're making copies of these equipment that are attached here. So we're going to talk about our equipment. We're going to talk about ways to make them cheaper than move them around. I think one of the key things that we can do to make our board a little bit bigger or better is make a copy of an equipment attached to something and move it to something else. That way, no, we won't get a copy of that, that token that's attached to something else, but then we're spreading the love, making our whole board bigger and better. And then we'll do a little bit to get some counters into things. It's not our main goal, but because Arna does actually double them, we still want to care about them a little bit. Well, let's talk about some of our equipment. First up, we have Razorfiend Ripper. This is from Razorfield Ripper. This is from the Energy Precon. It may look a little odd in a deck like this, but what I really like about Razorfield Ripper is its first ability. Whenever it or equipped creature attacks, you get an energy, and then it gets +X/+X, where X is the amount of energy you have. This is a kind of card that if we have multiple in the battlefield attached to multiple creatures, are going to start giving our creatures a pretty big buff, because we're not going to use that energy probably for anything if we don't have to, and that energy is going to stack up and up and just give them a bigger and bigger buff. Batterskull gives the equipped creature +4/+4 vigilance and lifelink, but it has living weapon. What's nice here is when we make a copy of it, the copy is actually going to automatically attach to that germ that it makes, but it's okay. Now we're just getting 4/4 germs every time we attack with the creature that Batterskull is attached to, whether it's attached to a germ or to any other creature. Conqueror's Fail seems kind of fun, +1/+1 for each color among permanents we control. And then as long as it is attached to a creature, opponent can't cast spells during our turn. I imagine this is going to be somewhat helpful, right? Stop people from using spells during our combat, try to stop the things that we're doing, and it can, prevent them from using removal in response to things like Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves that would protect our creatures from removal. Cranial Plating seems a ton of fun, especially when we have a ton of artifacts laying around that are equipment. Cranial Plating is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the really cool thing about Cranial Plating is we can play double black to attach it to a creature at instant speed, meaning that we can get these big buffs for our creatures out of nowhere. Dross Claw might be a stretch to some people, but I think I really like the idea of this. It has living weapons, so it will come in attached to a germ, but I think we just try to get these on all of our creatures. And whenever a creature attacks, each one loses a life. This is a way to just knock some life off of our opponents every time we attack, and I don't think we mind it at all. Yes, the rate for just +1/+1 may not be very good, but I do feel like that lose a life can stack up over the course of a game. Another one that seems kind of mediocre, but when you think about making copies of it, is Gold Pan. Gold Pan, when it ETBs, makes a treasure and then gives a creature +1/+1. Well, here, this means we can get a treasure every turn when we're attacking with the creature this is attached to, getting another one. Not as useful right once we make the copies of it, but I think the idea that it has an ETB trigger is really interesting and something we need to keep in the back of our mind when we're evaluating these equipment. Inquisitorial Rosette. Whenever equipped creature attacks, create a 2/2 Astartes warrior creature token with vigilance that's attacking. Then attacking creatures gain menace until end of turn. Here's a way to get some extra bodies on the board and give all our creatures menace. And then every one of these that we have that's attached to something, we're getting more of these tokens with, you know, vigilance that are attacking, and basically creating us a way to potentially block after we're taking our offensive. Kemba's Banner seems like a really fun one. It has Mirrodance. When it comes in, it's going to make a 2/2 Rebel and attach to it. But a creature gets a pulse and pulse for each creature control. What I really like about Kemba's Banner is once we start copying this, these Rebels are going to come in pretty big. And those Rebels are going to be a force that our opponents are going to have to deal with. Moonsilver Spear. Whenever the creature attacks, make a 4/4 angel with flying. Again, creature has first strike. Again, here's just another way to make tokens as we attack that can block for us while we're getting aggressive and attacking. Nettlecyst doing something very similar to cranial plating, but making a germ that it attaches to, which is fine. Every copy of Nettlecyst we make is going to automatically attach to a germ, but then we're just going to, again, like Kemba's Banner, have big germs that our opponents have to deal with. We're trying out a Phantom Blade in here. I'm kind of breaking my rule, including a couple of ACR equipment in here, but Phantom Blade seems interesting. 5 mana to equip 2 seems like a high cost, but when it ETBs, it attaches up to 1 creature we control and destroy up to one other target creature and gives the creature +1/+1 and menace. I think this is a really good ability, again, to just be potentially destroying a creature every turn as we're attacking with the Phantom Blade. And then Key to the Vault isn't going to be able to get copied, right? Because it's legendary. We're not going to... Our focus isn't to copy it, but to use it for its ability. When a creature does combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library, you may exile non-land from among them and play without paying its mana cost. And this is just going to help us get higher cost equipment out for free, get our support pieces out, get more creatures out. Again, I kind of view Key to the Vault as if we're copying it, you know, keep the copy that's on the creature that's going to get through for damage, and you know, deal with it that way. We're not going to get 5 or 6 copies of it like we could with some of these other ones, but I think it's still worth talking about. Well, how are we going to cheat in our equip costs? Because all these equipment have costs, and we're going to get them down, and then we have to get them on. Well, we have things like Arden. Beginning each combat, you can attach any number of ores or equipment you control to target permanent or player, meaning that if we have a creature that's ready to attack that doesn't have an equipment on them, boom, we can switch one over. Armored Skyhunter says that when it attacks, we can look at the top 6, put an ore equipment from among them onto the battlefield. If it's an equipment, we get to attach it for free. This should be able to be stacked with Arna's ability, where we can do the Skyhunter first, get something in and get it attached to something, and then Arna will see it, that creature being modified, and copy it. Codsworth is pretty fun. It gives us mana to allow us to cast or equipment spells, but it also will move 1 equipment to target creature, which is a great ability, again, to cheat some of the bigger equip costs as you get to bigger and better equipment. Den of the Capuchin just reduces all equipment spells by 1, which is pretty great, and it's a great body for equipment as is First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Halvar is a pretty key one, giving all of our creatures that are enchanted or equipped double strike, meaning they're going to hit harder, and if they're not blocked, they're going to deal even more damage. In the beginning of each combat, you may attach target or equipment attached to a creature you control to another one. This is pretty great because we can move them around, get our equipment where they want to be for the purposes of the attacks that we need to attack with. Pure Steel Paladin, of course, whenever an equipment comes in, we can draw a card, and then equipment have equipped 0 as long as we have 3 or more artifacts, so this is going to be pretty great, just easy to set up and really take advantage of as the game moves on. Forge anew, you know, pays 0 rather than the first equip cost we pay each turn, which is pretty great. And then Sigarda's Aid, we can cast equipment as though they have flash, and when an equipment comes in, we can attach it. So Sigarda's Aid is great because we get to get around that equip cost completely. These are key cards we want to see, of course. Nice part about Forge anew is it allows the equips to be done at instant speed, which can be helpful as well, depending on maybe whether our opponents have interaction or things that could be going on. We do want to talk a little bit about counters, because we could still take advantage of them. Arna still doubles them. No, this isn't the goal of the deck, but I think we could still take advantage of it. Drana, whenever it hits, is going to put a counter on each other attacking creature. The first time this goes off with Arna, it won't double them, but every other next combat, you know, Drana's going to be putting counters on there that are going to be getting doubled. Requisition Raid can hit something if we need it to, otherwise it's just going to put a counter on all of our creatures that then can be doubled. Contractual Safeguard's one I really like if we can get it with Arna at the same time. It says if you cast a spell during your main phase, put a shield counter on a target creature you control. So it would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove this counter instead. And it says choose a counter on a creature you control, put a counter of that kind on each creature you control. Meaning we could set a shield counter up on all of our creatures and start using Arna to double those shield counters. Could be useful. Obviously doesn't protect from single target exile removal or other things, but it's going to protect from a lot of things and protect our creatures. Anduril Narsil Reforged seems great here, putting a counter on everything, or 2 counters if you have the City's Blessing. That's just going to let us, again, continue to double up those counters each combat. And then Feldar Retreat can either help us go wider with some tokens, or put a +1/+1 counter on all our creatures and give them Vigilance, again, having counters for Arna to double. As you can see, we're not focusing on the counters, but I think there's some room there to take advantage of them. Well, I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. No deck's ever complete. This is version 1.0 of this deck. I still think there's a lot of things we can improve, and these are 3 cards that I really wanted to keep in that I had to cut that I think deserve their spot. Spark Double makes a ton of sense. Using Spark Double or Sakashima or ways to copy Arna to get multiples of these triggers feels like it'd be really useful. Especially then if somebody removes one of them, we still have one of them around to keep getting their triggers. Argentum Armor feels like a really good one. +6/+6 and on attack, destroying target permanent seems great. It's a teeny bit expensive to play and a teeny bit expensive to equip, but I still think it's a very good piece of equipment. I just wanted to try out some other equipment in this list before we reach back to the old favorites. And then Gavel the Righteous seems interesting. At the beginning of a combat of your turn, you put a charge counter on it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. And then it has 4 more counters on it. Equipped creature has double strike. And this will just grow every turn, getting your creature bigger and bigger. And when we make copies of it, now we have multiple of them just getting bigger and bigger. Well, let's get into our play tests. Keeping a 4-lander here with a Moonsilver Spear, and a Talisman, and a Talisman. So, great opening hand. Remember, Arna is 5, so we do a little bit of work. So up there, we will get the Sanctum in tapped, since we have nothing too good to do turn 1. Turn 2, we'll get that river down. And I guess it's just our choice of the talismans here, just to get down turn 2. Again, nothing else too good to do. Turn 3, we can get our planes down. I guess the argument here is, do we get the planes down? We could play Danitha. If we get the planes down, we could go planes into Talisman, into Danitha, right? 2 for the Talisman of Progress, and then 3 taking 1 life for Danitha. And that's pretty great, because now we've set up Arna for next turn as well, and making equipment cost a little bit less. I guess now Prairie Stream or Path of Ancestry is going to get him and tap this. Okay, we have 5 mana. We could Sigil and Dimir Signet, or we could get Sigil and Moonsilver Spear. Again, we can get Arna down, but we don't really have that great of an attack this turn, right? I kind of like the idea of just getting the 2 equipment down here this turn, getting them ready to go, and that way when we eventually can equip them, and when Arna gets down, we can utilize them that way. Prairie Stream in tapped. If I play Arna here, I can't actually equip either the equipment. Let's see, we could go Dimir Signet. Now we're up to 6 mana. And I guess we could, attach the Spear and play Nettle Cyst, which is going to get that germ attached to it. My thought process here is we're setting up a turn where Arna, because Arna doesn't need to attack. Arna just needs other things to attack. So it's not like we need Arna to be down for a turn in order to use its ability. So I kind of like getting our board set up so that when we get Arna down, we can use the ability right away. That germ is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 right now, which is not bad in its own right. Here we'll play that for a turn and cast Arna. We'll use the Path of Ancestry to get the Scry, and I think we're probably good on that basic planes for the moment. That leaves us 4 mana left, which means we could attach the Sigiled Sword if we want to. Creature gets +2/+0, is Vigilance, and is a Knight, and makes a token with Vigilance that's attacking. If we did this turn, 5 there, and then 3 there to equip it. Now when we go to attack this turn, we obviously would attack with both the Germ and the Danitha, making a copy of Nettle Cyst, which is going to come in attached to a Germ. And this is where this is going to get really beneficial, because we get a copy of these guys both attached, and then we're going to get an Angel and what is it? A Knight, right? And that Knight is attacking. The cool part here is, yes, right, we'll miss these triggers, right, because we already attacked. But the cool part now is Danitha now has a 6/2 with First Strike. This germ is now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a 9/9 attacking now, right? Now we made an extra 9/9, and we have these tokens laying around. And then now all we need to do, you know, like on our turn, is maybe, you know, move this spear over to Arna. You know, move a sigiled sword maybe if we want to. We might as well just keep it here for the purpose of this. But hey, we drew Envoy of the Ancestors, which gives all of our modified creatures lifelink now. So now we're gaining life. Again, move to combat again, attack, get another germ with another nettle cyst attached to it. 2 more angels, because we're attacking with Arna here as well. 2 more knights, right, that are attacking here. Another sigil, another that. This won't make a copy because it's a token. Neither will these, right, because these are this is a token copy. But we, you know, but look at this. Now this board is just going to keep getting out of control as we continue to get copies. Yes, we're dangerous to removal here, but the cool part is, even if somebody wipes this board, all of these equipment stay, and then all we need to do is get another creature back down and get another creature attached to start making these tokens again. And I think, you know, from there we're in good shape. So let's get into playtest 2. 4-lander with Bajuka Bog. Prairie Stream coming down makes that isolated chapel coming untapped. But I see what Dimir Signet is our play turn 2. So we'll get the stream down turn 1. Get the chapel down turn 2. Play that Dimir Signet. Again, remember, it's not like we need to get Arna down as soon as we have the mana for her. Her. I'm actually not entirely sure. 4 mana here. I like Sky Hunter. Again, won't pair with Arna the first time because on attack it won't be modified. So, but that's okay. But, you know, the next turn after that, it'll be pretty darn good. I kind of like the idea of getting the Cave of Coilos down here, get the Batter Skull down, so now we can start making copies of the Batter Skull. Move to combat, attack with Armored Skyhunter. So we look at the top 6, find an aura or equipment, and bring it in attached. So what do we got? Rosette seems good. Truth and Justice seems good. Putting a counter on a creature and proliferating, so that when Arna comes down, we can start doubling those. Nettle Cyst wouldn't be bad either, right? Starting that process. I'm pretty sure that would override the Living Weapon. But I like the idea of Sword and Justice, or Truth and Justice here, to start spreading the counters around. These are all going to go on the bottom. And again, we missed the attack. We could get the damage trigger here because it's in the air. Let's say for the purpose of this we do, so we put a counter on Sky Hunter. And then proliferate to get another counter. And then now, this turn, I really love the idea of getting Arna down. Rage Fiend Ripper wouldn't be half bad either. We could get it down and attach it to the Sky Hunter. But I like the idea of getting Arna down. And then go ahead and attack. We're going to make a copy of the Batter Skull, which is going to make, right, which is going to get, with the germ on it, we're going to make a copy of the Truth and Justice. And then Sky Hunter is going to go off again, looking at the top 6. We see Gold Pan, not bad. Get in here. Looks like Gold Pan is our only option. And Armored Sky Hunter says attach it to a creature you control. So let's just put the Gold Pan on Arna. And that'll make us a treasure. So now we could potentially start getting copies of the gore of the Gold Pan next turn. We got what, 2 mana left? Probably not that much we can do this turn. But hey, now Sword of Truth and Justice has the potential to go off again. Let's say for the purpose of this that we do have a free attack because somebody can't attack it. We what? Put a counter here. Sorry, we would double the amount of counters on it, so this is right up to 4. Put a counter on Arna, right, and then we put a counter on this germ, and then, right, proliferate either way. And that's 2 copies of proliferate. So what Arna will end up getting 2, that'll be 2, and then 6. So now Sky Hunter is pretty massive and in the air, copies of the Sword and Truth. And so now, I mean, again, we built this good state where we have equipment attached, we're attacking. And I think you could kind of see why I value these living weapons and these for Mirrodin, so that you're going wide instead of just going tall naturally. But let me know, what do you think of Arna down in the comments section below? I like this. I think if I was to play an equipment deck, I like this style, this idea of kind of getting rewarded for attaching things. What I like is that Arna doesn't need to attack to get its ability, so you can really take advantage of bringing Arna in at the right time to really utilize its ability, as opposed to needing it down all the time. But I'd love to know what you think down in the comment section below, and I will catch you guys next time.